map of the world that is divided into two colors. The gray colors represent those areas of the world that have ATHPs. So as you can see here in North America, there are 76 authorized hosters. The white regions represent those areas of the world that don't have any ATHPs. Of course, I still don't have a list yet of the actual hosters. To do that, I need to drill down onto a region. So for example, if I click on North America, the global map is replaced now with a map of North America that is again divided into two colors. The gray areas, Mexico, the United States, and Canada, represent those areas that have authorized Teamspeak host providers, and the white areas do not. But again, I still don't have an actual list. For that, I'm going to need to drill down one more time. If I click on the United States, the map of North America is now replaced with the map of the United States, again divided into the two colors. As you can see, there are lots of gray areas which represent places in the US that have authorized Teamspeak host providers. For example, in California, there are 37 authorized hosters. You can use the back button on the map to return to a previous level at any time. Now, for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to drill down on California, which, as you can see by the mouse over, has 37 authorized hosters. When I click on California, the map of the United States is now replaced by a map of California and a few of its adjoining states. But as you'll see at the bottom of the page, we now have a list of our authorized Teamspeak hosters. If I scroll down in my browser, I can actually display the entire list of the authorized hosters in California. This list is composed of three columns. The first column represents the company name. If you click on the company name, a new browser window will open, which will provide you information about the hoster company, as well as a link to their website. The second column of information is the company headquarters. Now, this may not seem important, but let's say you're renting from an ATHP in France, whose headquarters are in Poland. When you go to call support, they may not be able to provide you that support in French. The last column of information in the authorized hosters list is the hoster since column. This represents the date that the company was established as an authorized Teamspeak host provider. As you can see by the list, some have been established since 2004, while others have been established since 2010. This date simply provides you a level of comfort when dealing with certain companies as to how long they've been providing service for hosting Teamspeak servers. Now that we've drilled down into a state and seen the list of authorized hosters, it's interesting to point out that there's another way that you can further filter the list of ATHPs. As you'll notice, there are several blue dots in the state of California. These represent cities where the actual ATHPs have a presence. So that means that if you need an ATHP who can provide service for you in San Francisco, you could simply click on the blue dot, which would filter the list to show you those companies that have actual servers located in San Francisco. Now, one of the things you should keep in mind when thinking about selecting an ATHP is where your users are. So using the back button here to expand out to the United States, if all of your users are located within the US, say for example in California and in Wyoming and in Minnesota and Ohio and Georgia, you might consider selecting an ATHP that's located in Texas. This provides a more centralized location for your Teamspeak server so that all of your users will have a better user experience. Now, in another example, let's say that your users are located all over the world. So going back, you can see here they could be located in North America and in Asia and in Australia. You might want to select an ATHP that's located somewhere more on the East Coast, say for example in New Jersey or in New York. So that sums up how to find an ATHP. As we've demonstrated, there's a great interactive map on the Teamspeak website, which allows you to drill into regions of the world, countries, and even down to cities to find the ATHP that best meets your needs and the needs of your users. Now, before we jump into looking at some of the values and benefits of renting a server versus setting one up yourself, It's important to understand that when you sign up with an ATHP, you become one of their customers. Now back to the column in the hosters list of headquarters, this is particularly important in your decision making because when you have a technical issue with your server, or you have a billing issue, or some other question, you really need to be able to reach out to your ATHP and not to Teamspeak. We're here to support the Teamspeak client. If you have questions about connecting to a server or working with some of the features or functionality, that's when you reach out to Teamspeak. But when you have a problem with your server or your users can't connect or you have a problem with the bill, you need to reach out to your ATHP. So to wrap up this tutorial, let's take a look at some of the values and benefits of renting a Teamspeak server versus